In the good old days, people fought like gentlemen. When they slipped your jab, they fired an elegant cross counter over the top of it. And they did it while their feet were planted. Your grandpappy's counterpunch. But these days, the cross counter's been replaced with the forward-moving slip hook, a technique that is widely despised in the UFC 5 community. People hate this punch. But it exists for a reason. We're going to talk about why the forward slip hook is so prevalent, so hated, and why it may be a necessary evil. And I'll try to make my best case for why the old-fashioned cross counter still has a place in the game. The slip hook and cross counter both exist to oppose the overwhelming tyranny of the jab. When you get walloped, it is natural to blame the last strike in the combo for your woes, but more often than not, it's this little sucker at the start that caused your issue. The jab is one of the most powerful strikes in UFC 5, not for its damage or ability to interrupt you, but for its ability to reduce the amount of green in this meter right here. The jab does serious block damage despite being extremely quick and costing very little stamina. One jab, we're missing a chunk. Double jab, we're below half. 3 jabs, we're basically defenseless. You cannot shell up against a jabber. So the jab forces action. You can try to throw back when they jab to trade, but if you do so predictably, they will have an easy method to draw out your punches, fading back after jabbing so they can go first and third. They've got you on a string. No good. You decide to block the jab and counter the next punch in the combo. That's the approach many take. The problem is the amount of variety that can flow off the jab. Jab straight, jab hook, jab low kick, double jab, reset, jab. Jab, uppercut, head kick. Some of these things you can pick up with your eyes, but if you wind up playing the guessing game, you will have a very bad time. If the jab is connecting, the rest of the offense becomes easy. I submit that no one can really defend themselves effectively if their opponent can jab without consequence. The forward-moving slip hook is the consequence. It's a simple enough move. Forward on the left stick, flick the right stick toward your lead hand side, fire off a rear hook. Blammo, you're the mayor of Countertown. Let's first note that this is not done on reflex. You cannot react to a jab like that in UFC 5. Input lag makes it impossible. It's done on instinct. Usually the trigger is the distance between fighters. No one can slip every jab without completely selling out on everything else, but you don't need to. You eat 5 or 6 jabs, that's bad. You counter one with a hook, that's great. You don't need to counter them all. 1 or 2 is enough to make them think twice about jabbing you, and that's the whole point. I say it counters the jab, but of course it deals with the straight and uppercut just as effectively. Better, in fact, since they use more stamina. So what's the problem here? Isn't this just a case of rock beating scissors? Why do people, myself somewhat included, hate this move? It starts with the mockery it makes of distance management. Look at the space it chews up. Feels more like a Street Fighter gap closer. You can be outside of kicking range and make it to the pocket in one move. Proper distance management is a crucial skill, one that gets seriously denigrated by the existence of this move. For another thing, it cuts off your options. If someone pulls your left hook, you can usually pull in response to their pull. Nothing doing here. If you throw a jab, you're locked in. If you don't jab, you should be able to pull when you see them slipping, but the distance covered and the super tracking of that hook means that evading with head movement feels very inconsistent. So the slip hook beats boxing, but then it should lose to kicking at range. But it tends to blow through roundhouses, which, fair enough. Surely the front kick to the body should eat it up. But front kicks interact in a very weird way with slips. The game thinks that because the head is moving, that a linear kick should redirect to the head, since it might dip. But since it's a slip, that means the head isn't there to be hit. So instead of putting your toes in their solar plexus, it somehow magically phases right through them or converts to a too short knee. And lastly, this thing just looks ugly. Check this shit out. No, I don't care for this. None of this is to say that it's an unbeatable strategy. It's not. For one thing, you could simply not throw jabs or straights. That shuts it down. But you are giving up a huge part of your offense. It's a concession. A simple approach is to block counter the right hook, which is satisfying. They can, of course, preemptively dip their head after the hook, but if you pick up on this, you can switch to an uppercut, or body uppercut, to double punish them. One approach I like is the crash elbow. Instead of trying for a clean counter, we accept a favorable car crash. As soon as you see them slipping, fire off a rear elbow. Forget all that clean evasion stuff. Let's trade strikes like real men. Results not guaranteed if your head health is trash. This slip hook has another downside, but I'll get to that in a minute. As effective as it is, I don't think that it's good to spam this. Spamming it will get you the occasional win, but you'll lose more often. I think it's ugly. but I do use it on occasion. Some people are begging for it, and you gots to oblige them. Also, there's nothing wrong with the stationary slip hook or the back foot slip hook. I think these are both very nice. So the slip hook is aesthetically unacceptable despite its power. What about the cross counter? The slip cross has two major weaknesses as compared to the hook. For one, it does about 30% less damage. That sounds like a good bit, but it's worse than it sounds. It's not that you need 3 straights to do the work of 2 hooks. It's that you are much less likely to cause a health event when you do 30% less damage. Health events are the name of the game. Drops and rocks change behavior. Damage just accumulates slowly over time. The second problem is that the cross has a longer reach than the hook. Doesn't sound like a problem, but it is. You see, the forward slip covers so much ground that you typically wind up right in the pocket. You can't be too close for a hook to do big damage. Smothering punches isn't really a thing in this game, except for jabs and straights. In tight like this, a straight is extra wimpy. At full extension, it's possible to get solid damage. You could throw a forward slipping cross hook from really far away, but why would you? This is too far away for anyone to think about throwing a jab at you. So a cross counter is most always thrown with feet planted, which means that, ironically, it has a shorter range than the slip hook. So why bother with it? Well, many do not, and honestly, I don't blame them. But there are a few good qualities to it. For one, it's much easier to combo out of a straight than a hook. Faster punches typically combo better. A counter combo is a sweet thing, one of the nicest ways to make a living in this game, and if you don't avail yourself of them, I pity you a little bit. When you get a good hit reaction, it is ideal to follow up with more strikes. Could be a simple 2-3. You can change levels with a straight into 2 body shots. Doubling up on body shots is dangerous, but it works a lot better on the counter. Straight head kick, you can't tell me this doesn't feel nice. I'd like the community to call this a Yockley. I didn't invent it, I just like it more than anyone else. Or it could be an extended head kick combo. That's a 2-1-2 high kick. Don't tell me you didn't like that. Don't tell me you're not going to try that the next time you play. Like the damn video. You could hit all 3 levels on a Dutch combo with Jose Aldo. You can't tell me I'm not pretty. You can tell me there's many people better than me at this game. You can't tell me that anyone appreciates the aesthetic qualities of a good counter combo more than me. And lastly, the cross. Okay, a quick tangent, because I'm annoying myself and some of you as well. Many people use straight and cross interchangeably, but they're not quite the same thing. Not every straight is a cross, though every cross is a straight. If you throw a straight punch with your rear hand, it is always a straight. If that straight is over the top of your opponent's jab, it is a cross, because it crosses over their left arm. I tend to say cross more just because I find it more euphonic. Cross counter is a delightful phrase, sounds crisp. Straight counter sounds like a doomed attempt to defend my own heterosexuality. Back to our regularly scheduled program. The last benefit of the cross counter is the way its limitations force you to play. Here's the real problem with slip hooks. It's the negative effect it has on the rest of your game. When you can shadow step to your opponent at any time, you lose all respect for distance. Slip hookers tend to have 2 modes: staying at extreme long distance to be safe, and slip hooking their way into the pocket where they're close enough to make sweet tender love to their opponent. Straight counter. If you use the cross counter, you have to respect your opponent's range. You have to work your way into range slowly, find spaces to plant your feet and fire. That's the better way to play the game in the long run. And it just looks much nicer. Of course, these are not the only methods for dealing with straight hitters. One long-lost technique for countering the jab is the overhand. I used this in UFC 3 and 4. In 5, it's less good. Because the overhand animation is blended with the hook, it's become a bit slower and clunkier. Still, it can function as a natural counter to the jab. You don't need to use any head movement, it just has to be timed properly. You must start throwing it before their jab comes out. I don't use it myself, but you might try it. You can also counter the jab with the calf kick if you have superior distance management. You hang out at the edge of jabbing range, trying to bait out some offense. If you see that their jab is going to fall short, you fire off a calf kick to punish them as they recover. They pretty much need to preemptively block low to cover this, so it's a great way to accumulate leg damage. Of course, if they step into their cross after the jab barely misses, they can hit you on one leg. And you really got to make sure that your kicks don't fall short. Very bad when your kicks whip. You can slip and dip without the rip. Safe head movement with the guard up and no counters thrown. Disrupt their jabbing rhythm until you've got the timing down to start throwing your own counters. And if all else fails, you should jab with them. It's better to trade jabs than just watch your own block get shredded. Of course, the dastardly jabbing cur might have the unmitigated gall to slip hook you once you start jabbing. Scoundrel, stop countering and let me jab you. I'm only going to entreat you like this once a year, but if you watch this whole video, there's a good chance I moved you up by one division, in which case I think it is only fair that you like, subscribe, and leave a thoughtful comment that you wrote yourself, and also to give me your undying devotion and to adhere to all of my bizarre cultural, political, and religious views. Is that so much to ask? I think not.